as the Knicks now have lost 12 straight games in Denver, but they were gritty tonight. It looked like they were going to get blown out based on what was going on at the first half. Their second half was much improved, just struggled again in the final 6 minutes of the game.
Well, I mean, what a lesson learned in this game if you're the Knicks. And I loved Rebecca Harlow's report at halftime when she talked to, I guess it was Pat Sullivan, the assistant coach. And she just basically asks, as you always do, is what adjustments you're going to make. What was said, and they said, well, no adjustments need to be made. The players were told to basically try harder, play with that same grit and that energy that you played with in Sacramento to make that comeback win, the effort to close out the game in Golden State. Play as hard as you played those nights, and good things will happen. That's what they did in this third quarter. They had a chance to win this game. I mean, they were up by 5. They simply ran out of gas. They had no answer for Jokic, who's a great player. But this is a lesson of, you don't have to go down by 16. Play that hard throughout the whole game, and you can be competitive night in and night out. I thought the coaching staff made great adjustments throughout the game. Second half, you saw a little more ISO, taking advantage of some of the height advantage and size advantage they had in the low post. They just could not make a shot down the stretch, still searching for that shot maker. But once again, if they had played as hard the whole game as they did, especially in that third quarter, the outcome might have been different. You look at the fact that the Knicks were up 100-98 with 5:57 to go, and basically only scored 2 points until it was garbage time the rest of the quarter. Yeah, Denver's defense, one of the best in the league now.
Right, they're the top defensive team in the league.
And they locked it down.
And it's interesting because the Knicks did really well in crunch time at Golden State and at Sacramento.
Yeah, it's shot making, number one. You got to be able to do that. You also played against 2 other teams that are not nearly as good as Denver defensively. I mean, Denver's a terrific defensive team. They do struggle with offense, however, and we saw that in the third quarter when the Knicks really got after them defensively. Like I said, there's a lot of positives to take. Of course, the frustration is the record 6-21, so it starts with that. But what you're seeing is it's 2-2 road trip, which when you go out west and you can win 2 out of 4, you're pretty satisfied with that. But when you're as down in the record as the Knicks are right now, you're searching for every close game, trying to win. That margin of error is so thin. But with a new coaching staff that's still trying to implement some things and make some changes, I do think you're seeing a different look to this Knicks team, and they're starting to find themselves a little bit. So some good things happen on this West Coast trip that you've got to build off of as they're trying to climb out of this hole that they dug themselves.
Tonight at the half, Knicks down 67-51, but we had a third quarter of boom.
Yes.
As the Knicks outscored Denver in that third quarter, 33-20, and Marcus Morris in the third quarter alone, Al, had 16 points.
He had the hot hand. This is one of the things you saw that matchup with Barton. Marcus Morris wins that advantage, and I think that's what you saw the coaching staff do. And right here, of course, Grant, smaller than Julius Randle, and Randle, again, you just saw matchups. Create space and get the matchups you're looking for. Elfrid Payton, another terrific game for him. Great numbers for him. You see him getting into the paint, which is not many Knick guards can do that, but he certainly can. And then there's the 3-ball. That helps you get back in games, and the Knicks knocked down the 3-ball, 3 of 4 from downtown in that third quarter, which allowed them to cut that deficit of 16 points at the half and make it a closer game, down 3 going into the fourth quarter.
And the Knicks ended up in that fourth quarter going up by 5. But one problem down the stretch, Morris, who had that great third quarter, did not score a single point, Alan, in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, 0 for 4.
Got to have him. I mean, obviously they're going to struggle in crunch time if Morris
turned off his water. Someone else now has to take advantage of it. That's basically what it is. 0 for 4, did not score in that fourth quarter. But still, it was a pretty exciting finish to this game. If you think about it, again, the Knicks' second effort. 50-50 balls was something they struggled with, Bill, throughout this game. There's one that they get to, however, and Julius Randle takes it all the way to the rack, and that made it was almost too easy right there as the Knicks 93-89. How about that pass from Frank Ntilikina and Taj Gibson with the dunk, 96-91. Look at this shot, by the way. I mean, that little floater, 50-50 right there. What a great example that is of a ball.
That's so often.
Can get to that ball, and they hit that 3. They seem to hit shots off of those 50-50 deflections that the Knicks could not get to, and that was so frustrating. Look at this bounce by Julius Randle, 20 points in this game for him. And watch this now. I mean, anybody guarding him?
Took the lead for good.
Jokic, you got to have. You can't sit in the paint. He can hit threes. That gave him the lead for the first time in the fourth quarter. Look at this, another 50-50. He had nowhere to go. He throws it off Jokic's back, and then dagger 3 right there by Jamal Murray. That was a tough one. Mike Miller calls the timeout. The Knicks go down by 7 there, but you could just see it's like they struggled at the other end. There was a lot of possessions that just were clunky, and a lot of it you have to give credit to the Nuggets defense and the way they were able to create a lot of this. The Knicks were out of flow. They had to do a lot of things one-on-one, and there was some hesitation again. And that's when you don't have that go-to guy, when you don't have that star that give it to him and get out of the way, that's your best play. When you don't have that, you tend to start looking around wondering who's going to be the big shot maker, and the Knicks didn't have one.
And as you just pointed out, so many times the Knicks were
50-50s.
unable to come up with these loose balls, and it would result.
They just bat it away, and it goes right to some open player, and he just drills the shot, whatever it was. So you had a chance. I always say that a defensive stop doesn't happen until you get the rebound. Or the loose ball. Like, that's when the stop literally happens. So you had almost stops. How many of those almost stops did they have, especially in the fourth quarter, that ended up just tipping away to another player, and a Denver player would get it and make the shot? So you turn an almost stop into a score for them, and that's how you lose momentum when you're playing as hard as they were playing defensively.
All right. Nuggets, again, with great balance. It was a case when they were here in New York tonight. They had 6 players in double figures. Will Barton, 16.